Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Nick from MMA Pixels here with Daniel, the Raging Bull Arpajon. How are you doing, Daniel?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
Doing great, man. I appreciate you taking the time to speak with us today. I know you just had a big TKO victory in the first round against Joshua Moreno, April 22nd at IFS 34. Can you talk us through that? Like what happened during the fight?
Uh, During the fight, it was mainly a scrap. We just stood toe to toe and just threw bombs for 26 seconds, I think, straight. And I kept watching the video the whole time, and it was just a lot. It felt like a minutes that we were just throwing punches at each other. It felt like I was stuck in that ring for an hour. It was actually pretty crazy. It was fun too. Like I was actually having fun with it. And my opponent was tough, man. Josh was tough. There's no mistake about it, man. He's definitely my toughest opponent. You know, there's not a lot of guys that I respect enough that they could just stand there and scrap with me. You know, like there's a lot of people that don't want to scrap with me, and for him to actually, and he showed that he wasn't scared of me, and I really respect that, and he has my utmost respect.
When that happened, when you came out and you said, oh, okay, he's going to stand and bang, like what were you thinking at that moment?
Um, in fact, I wasn't thinking at all, and I just played along, and because that's my game too. I like to just stand and throw punches. I don't mind that, you know, because 90% of the time I win. 5% of the time it's a stalemate, and other 5% of the time it's just a waste of time, you know. And so, but either way, it's when my mind was really like not I wasn't thinking at all because I completely ditched the game plan that we had in store, which was to use my skills, not like, you know, not my chin, not my not a bunch of random punches, random combos. The whole point was to go in there, use the skill, outskill him, and finish the fight earlier, if possible. That was the whole plan.
And then, so like you said, as soon as he came out and you seen that he was willing to trade, that's when the game plan went out the window.
Absolutely, the game plan completely just left, and I got excited, and I was ready to scrap again, you know. So it's been it's been a while since I actually got into one of those kinds of scraps, you know. The fight before that one was kind of a scrap, but I dropped the dude with the right hand in the really early, and pretty much, and I just dominated the rest of the fight. So, but this fight it's been a while since I actually got into one of those fist fight kind of Don Fry style battles, you know. So
It lasted a little bit over 2 minutes. Did you feel any fatigue during that?
definitely what?
Fatigue? Did you get tired at all going at that high pace?
Not fatigue. I was at the last week and a half. I was really working on my conditioning. I was doing a lot. I was really working a lot on my wrestling. So that's good. That's really good cardio for me. So, and I've been working a lot of that. So for that kind of high pace kind of action. But as far as fatigue goes, I was still able. I recover fast. I could go. I could probably go like another few more minutes before I could really feel, before I could really say fatigued. You know.
You said you were working a lot on wrestling. Was that something just for this camp for this opponent, or is that something you've always been working on?
That's something I've always been working on. I've always I come from a wrestling background, from since high school, and I teach young high schoolers how to wrestle at a beginner level. So, and pretty much I've always been part of wrestling. Wrestling's always been a part of who I am as a person, who I am as a fighter, and naturally I'm more of a boxer. If I was to say anything else, I feel naturally more of a boxer. I like to throw punches. I like to, you know, land a good combo. But as far as it goes for a real base, wrestling has always been there, whether I liked it or not.
You're currently coaching high school?
Not currently. The season's over, and now I'm back on the training with more MMA and stuff. Coaching was taking up a good part of the day, and I had to juggle training and coaching together. So then I wasn't really taking fights because I didn't want to get confused about like random things. So, but when the season was on, I was coaching. Whether I'm going to coach again or not is meant to be said in the future because the school I was coaching for right now is they're doing good, with or without me. They're doing good.
Right. And you said you kind of feel naturally more of a boxer. Is that because of training or just you
Yeah,
just feel that way?
yeah. When I first signed up at Black House MMA, when I first really went there, I had the skills to wrestle. I mean, I was really good at wrestling a bunch of the guys there. A lot of the guys are strong grapplers, so I felt really strong as for my wrestling abilities there. But whenever we had sparring, we would spar on Fridays. Like today, for example, um, we would spar on Fridays, and then I would completely ditch wrestling. I wouldn't go for the shots. I would just start boxing everybody, start brawling with people, you know. And to me, it just felt natural. Like I fight a lot on instinct, and that's how and it felt real natural to me, you know.
Right. You said you spar every Friday. Is it a once a week thing?
For me, it's twice a week. I spar Tuesdays and Fridays. I do MMA sparring on for Fridays, and then I box on Tuesdays. Um, right now. I'm working with probably one of the best boxers I've ever known him ever. I consider him probably the best heavyweight in the world currently, but there's a lot of twists and turns in the boxing community. So it's like you're all like, who's that guy? His name's Joe the Future Hanks. The dude's crazy fast for a heavyweight. He's heavier than me. He's taller than me. He's bigger than me, and he moves like a middleweight. The dude, uh, the dude has all the skills to completely rip someone apart, you know, but he stays technical, and he's good at what he does completely. And I really feel, and from sparring him for such a long time, for the last maybe almost 9 months, I've been sparring him, and I never boxed before him. I never really just strictly boxed, but when I went to go box him, I kept coming at him every single time to box. And when every time I did so, he would outskill me. And eventually I caught on and to all his tricks, and not all his tricks, but I caught on to a lot of the stuff he would do, a lot of his habits. And I would either mimic it or try to or beat it, you know. Um, and I got better as a striker. So pretty and just working with him in general is a privilege to me, and I really and I've been humbled by it. So he's a really cool guy, really, and he's taught me a lot just by sparring him alone. He's taught me so much.
What's more tiring, MMA sparring or boxing sparring?
Um, that's tough to say because MMA sparring could be really tough, or boxing sparring could be really tough one day. If I was to really choose, I think boxing sparring is tougher because when I start, because it's just hands. You can't go in for a shot and then lay on the dude for like another minute, you know, or 30 seconds to catch a breather, while before you stand back up by your coaches, um, or even that, or clinch up. For example, you can't clinch up in boxing. You have to the second you clinch up, you're given a second to break off, and if you guys aren't breaking, then they say, all right, break. You know, then you have to start all over again. And I've always felt boxing sparring was tougher, especially against probably the best in the world, because even then there's a lot of stuff that he's throwing and a lot of stuff I'm throwing and I'm trying to make sure I don't get hit as I'm throwing my punches or combos. And it's so I really do think boxing sparring is a lot tougher than MMA sparring, because in MMA you can really you could find holes to work around, you know.
Do you ever considering trying to box like actual match?
Yes, absolutely. I've always liked boxing in general. You know, I've always liked watching it. And I mean, the first boxing match I ever watched was a Floyd Mayweather match. So that wasn't really, that's not really the best example of me liking boxing or the reason why I like boxing. But it got me curious enough to what's real boxing, because I saw my dad watch it when I was young. He didn't like Floyd, you know, just like pretty much just like every other Floyd hater, you know, they don't like Floyd and they want to just see someone go at it. You know, they want to see knockouts. They want to see all that, you know, stuff that everyone wants to see. Entertainment. But when I really started looking up at highlights, Tyson, I started looking up at Roberto Duran, Jake LaMotta, the original Raging Bull. I started looking up a lot of probably some Rocky Marciano, really old Jack Dempsey boxing match. I can't believe I found that video. Either way, I've been looking it up, and to me, I was like, that's boxing. You know, that's real boxing. That those guys either getting knocked out or getting outskilled. You know, that to me, and as long as there's action, to me, that's boxing. And I've always liked boxing. And to really think that I would actually go into a boxing match, absolutely, I would go into one. You know, I'll have to start amateur, but absolutely, I would go into boxing matches.
So when you're looking up those fights, watching them, is that just for entertainment or is that research? Are you actually trying to see what they're doing?
At first, it was for entertainment. Like a few years ago, I could tell you it was for entertainment. I was bored and I just needed some excitement, and I would look up a lot of good knockout videos from even for in Muay Thai videos. You know, like I would look up just something of people getting knocked out or people getting TKO'd or brutally beaten. You know, that's what I would do. But then eventually, I just started to learn, and I started to realize this is how I should be fighting, or this is how I should be throwing that right hand or left hook. You know, and there's a lot of there's a lot of learning into what those videos give. You know, and I definitely learned a lot. And when I put those kind of things into action, from what I see on the videos, it was definitely a learning experience. A lot of the stuff I tried were either failed miserably, and I got like a bloody nose, or I got like my lip popped open or something, you know, or just a plain bruise on my forehead. Um, Either way, I still kept watching them to learn what did I do wrong, what can I do better, is this move even for me to begin with? Um, and I just learned from there. You watch more videos, find out who this guy was, where he came from, you know, who his coach was, what were his coaches going for. Like I look up a lot of Customato stuff sometimes when we're just doing nothing. I look up Customato, what he was trying to teach Tyson all along, what it was his ideal vision of a boxer, you know, the best boxer he can make, which was
So,
Tyson.
so you have those things and you're going into the gym with that mindset to work on it?
Yeah, sometimes. I'm past that area now because I trust my coaches a lot more because they have their own little style for MMA. It's more of it's like a boxer, a really aggressive boxer kind of style for MMA, and it's all supposed to mix, and it mixes in well with wrestling. Even if you go for a shot and it fails, for example, you can still box off it. You can still throw punches off it or a kick, you know. Or if someone's beating you on the feet, there's ways setting up to the takedown, to the shot. You know, there's ways we can do things. Even in clinch game is where we thrive a lot better. I thrive in the clinch game a lot because I dirty box, and I can't throw elbows in a match yet because camo rules say I can't. But either way, it's when I dirty box in clinch, I thrive in that moment because I'm stuffing my opponent's range. I'm always and I use my range to my advantage, and I be quicker than they are. So pretty much whenever I train for this kind of style, it just I could definitely feel it working. I feel it I feel that I'm getting a lot better from it just by watching and learning all the stuff that my coaches are teaching me.
And who are your coaches?
My coach's name is Rage Ing. The dude is awesome. I love working with him. Me and him connect real well. He's really enthusiastic with what he teaches, and he's very sure of himself with what he teaches. And I've always told myself, a coach is not a good coach if they don't challenge your basics. And that's all he's ever done is challenge my basics. And I found out that my basics sucked before I started working with him. And then we started to redefine them and everything else. And my basics are so much better than where they were a year ago, for example. I can't even describe how big of a boost training with him has been, and just overall learning and getting better as a fighter. My other coach is Matthias, Coach Matthias. I can't pronounce his last name. He works on my mental conditioning, my overall speed training. He works on a lot of stuff like that. Those are my two main guys. And then I got my wrestling coaches, Lou Pauly, Kenny Johnson. I got Muay Thai coach Pamplona, Eduardo Pamplona. He also trains RDA. And then I got Coach Jamal. He teaches boxing. He's the main coach for Joe Hanks. So I got a whole team of coaches I can go to and ask questions, how I can get better in this area, and I ask everybody. I don't stick to just one person's advice, because then becomes this dogma. And then next thing you know, I might miss out on a valuable piece of technique or a valuable piece of information that I might need in a future fight, So I ask everybody what their opinion is, or what can I do to get better. Even my training partners. Why, for example, why'd you hit me with this? What did I do wrong? He says, oh, you probably did this, and then I learn from that. So really, I have a really good team on my side, and when I go pro is up to them, not to me. So that's when they think I'm ready is when they think I'm ready. So
Okay, you're 5 fights in. You said that you learned a lot, but you're still learning some. Your team's going to be responsible for letting you know when to turn pro. Who is that? Like a head coach, or are you relying on all those people you mentioned to turn to you and say, "Hey, it's time"?
I'm mostly waiting on Rage. Rage is going to be the one to tell me if I'm ready or not. He's more observant, because coaches see more than what the fighter sees, because they're on the outside and they see everything. And I'm really waiting on when, because I know guys are 5 fights in, weird records, and like they're 3-2, 2-3, and they just go pro after a 1 win, and my coach isn't like that. He wants me to actually destroy the heavyweight division in professional leagues. So he wants me to actually do that. But in order to do that, he needs to know that I'll be ready for it. Not just skill wise. My overall physique, am I strong enough to handle them? Am I fast enough to handle them? Am I smart enough to handle them? Kind of thing, So really, it's all going to be up to Rage to decide.
The Camo State rankings came out recently for April. You're currently ranked number 5. I'm not sure if you're aware of that.
It said last I checked, it was like 7. I think I was looking at Tapology. I think, I don't know, but I heard it say 7. I didn't know if I was number 5.
Yeah, they just updated it. You moved up to number 5.
Oh wow!
So your top 5. Any mumblings of a title shot soon?
Yeah, absolutely. There's the guy that my one loss was against Edgar Barberi. He had a win recently, the same weekend I was fighting. My last fight. He what they want to do is set us both up to get the state title for Camo. And I told him, all right, if they can shoot me a date, I'll accept it. I'm in the works right now talking to Gloria from IFS. They about setting up a title fight for me. You know, so right now it's all about titles, becoming the champion I'm meant to be. So, um, whether or not it's set sooner or later, it doesn't matter to me. I'm ready to fight now. I'm smarter than what I was last year, but I'm definitely gonna do a lot better this time though to get that title.
Right. Just looked it up. Edgar won a decision at Fighter Rep that same weekend on the 22nd.
Yeah, he when me and him fought, I definitely was not in the right mindset. I thought I was gonna run through this guy. This guy like definitely had more experience than I did at the time. I think he was at 4 fights. I was at 2, so he had way more experience than I did, and I had to catch up. So I just took time to train, get better, and now I'm way smarter. I'm not gonna tackle it like I would last time. You know, I'm gonna come at him with more skill, and that's if the fight even happens. That's if they set the fight up between me and him. If not, then God help the next guy. That's all I gotta say.
Where can the fans follow you on social media?
You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram, Daniel the Raging Bull Arpajon. I upload stuff every so often, just to keep people like posted on where I'm at, what I'm doing, stuff like that. Other than that, as for fight news, it's the same thing. You can just follow me on Instagram or Facebook. So if anyone wants to like buy tickets or anything, wants to DM me for stuff like that, it's all there.